Kerry-Ann, that really struck me as well. I thought it was very impressive the way they spoke about that learning to discuss the issues.
Right.
And not each
They
other.
debate ideas and not people, and focus on the ideas, not take it personally. They had, the entire year they worked through a very diligent process of bill writing and understanding public speaking and understanding what it means to research and debate issues. We were excited this year because we had a few law firms that got involved and partnered with our young people. Finizio Law Firm and the Young Lawyers Bar Association have really wrapped their hands around them and said, we want to be a part of this because we believe in giving them a proactive voice in law and in civic engagement as opposed to a reactive voice. And how powerful is that to create that legacy for them? So the process in which we take them through is very diligent in writing their bills and understanding how to present their bills. And there was a period of self-discovery for us as the leaders also, because we came in with our adultism and we thought that we knew everything that they needed, and they taught us quite a bit about what they needed. And we had a couple lawyers say, man, I didn't expect their bills to be this good. I had no idea. I think I need to get another lawyer on this to help them. So it was very revealing. The process in and of itself was very revealing. And being able to take young people who probably haven't left the 5 square miles in which they live out of their neighborhoods to pack a suitcase that they've never packed before and think about, how they attire themselves and to make sure that they felt like they had a place in Tallahassee was monumental.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the one thing that really impressed me, was just the knowledge that they had of their own bills. They really embraced them and they really took charge. And that was just mind-blowing. To have 9th through 12th grade students take charge, it was great.
I found out, I'm a lawyer. When we went through moot court, we would get a packet of stuff that said, you can't actually use anything beyond this packet. It had the research and so on. And they said they got nothing. They had to do it all.
Do it all.
That's crazy.
From beginning to end. They are phenomenal. And it's the fact that this gift lives in every child. Anyone who's interested is, you don't have to have a parent who was an attorney to understand the process, and I think that's the beauty of it. And the fact that it lives in 21st century programs in high schools, that it's federally funded and supported by the Children's Services Council, and we're able to leverage that to create this additional opportunity. It's sweet.
And Geori, your young people have to learn how to take something that is very personal. They're not taking an esoteric issue, they're taking something that really has struck them very to their heart, but learning how to present it in a way that is emotional but yet not, because they have to bring some intellectual to it. How do you get them to that place?
Well, the power with Florida Youth Shine is that these youth may have never shared their voice before. They may have never advocated for themselves before or know what advocacy is. Sometimes this is the first time that these youth are sharing their stories and also processing their stories. And once you get them in a room together, they're a voice to be reckoned with. They'll hear from one of their peers one of the issues that they experience, and they'll realize they experience those issues too. And they have that common bond between them. Florida Youth Shine, it's really become quite a family statewide. We have 14 chapters around the state, and then we also locally, because they all share this common bond. You touched on empowerment, Ryan, and then you touched on opportunity. And just by providing them this opportunity for them to share their voice and empowering them with the tools necessary to do that, everything else comes later. They've been so successful at sharing these stories, and people have listened to them. So that increases their self-esteem, their confidence. They realize that they can make this positive and effective change, and that people want to hear them and want to hear their stories and want to help them make those changes. And it just turns them into a different person who wants to make change for the future. Their brothers and sisters that are going to come after them. They've changed, I think, in the past 2 years, about 5 pieces of legislation passed at least.
Wow.
Which is pretty impressive for a group of 13 to 24-year-olds from around the state, for just sharing their stories and putting these things together. So seeing that, the positive results of what they've done and how that's going to impact thousands and thousands of children, and it may not affect them because they may now be out of care or not, but they're still fighting for it, and it's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, I think that is important too, that they really don't, to a large extent, many of them get to benefit. So it is altruistic almost in their actions, because they just want to make sure it's better for those who come behind them. And your folks at OIC really are just trying to improve the community and find a way, but empowering them as well.
Yes, we recognize how serious the issue is of HIV and AIDS in our community. And it was wonderful to see that young people kind of did an evolution as they took part in our program. What we talk about is of a really sensitive nature. For young people, can be a bit embarrassing to talk about sex. And you have these very quiet, timid young folks in the classroom at times. And to see them, change from being very timid to now being these staunch advocates for pregnancy prevention and for getting tested. And I'm going to make sure that I get all my friends tested this week. Oh, Mr. So-and-so, Miss So-and-so, guess what we did this weekend? I made sure that I delivered all these pamphlets out. And to go back and to say, wow, you know what, 2 years ago, you were that quiet young lady in the back of the classroom, who snickered when we, had to talk about anatomy. And now look at you. You have really grabbed a hold of this. You've become very passionate about it, and you want to make a positive impact on your community. So it's a great change to see. It's rewarding to see the progression our youth take as they go through this journey, and to know that it's not just about teen pregnancy prevention or STIs or HIV, but now they have this passion about anything that they are interested in, any injustice that they see, any ail to our society, that they now feel equipped and confident to talk about it, to advocate on its behalf.
That's awesome. Are you seeing that spread to their friends or to change the school culture?
Yes, we certainly have. One of the high schools we've been at Hallandale High School, there's just been such a dramatic shift in the attitude. And the principal, the vice principal, they pulled us aside about a year ago and they told us, not only has the teen pregnancy prevention rate gone down by 80%, but just the attitude of our students has changed significantly. We were working with some very at-risk youth at that school who took it upon themselves to make sure that they spread the word, that they encouraged their friends to get tested, but that attitude transcended into their academics as well. They had better engagement in the classroom. When we're there, we noticed that the attendance went up on those days, and that began to spark a momentum of them, regularly attending as well. So it has an impact in a variety of different areas, and it has changed the climate and the culture at a lot of the sites where we've been able to implement the program.
I think your comment about the principal is really important as well, because you need to have the schools buy-in, I think, maybe not so much in the Youth Shine area, but certainly in yours, to have the schools being supportive of the work that you're doing. Do you find the young people advocating more within the school environment for changes as well?
I think they, as you mentioned, they just feel empowered to speak and to speak their mind and to advocate for any ills. I think I can actually say, especially because we have our largest delegation at Boyd Anderson High School, and Principal Almanzar there has been just an extreme champion for the young people and gives them the platforms also to be able to present and to support them. So I think wherever they can create the opportunity for our kids to practice their skills and to put them to real world change, I've seen that our principals have responded.
That's nice. Because they're learning, as you said, Ryan, to communicate appropriately. And that also helps to make us old folks actually listen, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just this past week, the Broward County Schools sent up a little small delegation for themselves on with Sheila Van Hoos, their legislative director there. Took them around from office to office, set them up on different responsibilities that they had throughout the day to talk to certain legislators. So it was, just empowering them to do that and introducing them to that environment that they may have never been introduced before is just something that really ignites some type of passion, whether it's a certain issue or whether it's a certain topic that they wanted to discuss or get championed. getting introduced to that is just the first step. And I think by putting it in our schools, putting it in our community, that's really what's going to affect change in the future.
I have an idea. I think we should now take these young people and have them do some training of our legislators in Tallahassee and in Washington. Maybe they could learn these skills and actually get something done. What do you think?
Yes.
I think we can all agree that, all rational minds can agree that children are a bipartisan issue and a nonpartisan issue. And one thing that really moved me last year when I went up for Children's Week with Florida Youth Shine was the Broward delegation sat with Rep. Katie Edwards, and they went around the table and they told their stories and they told why a certain bill was needed. And before you can get to 2 or 3 speakers, Rep. Edwards was already crying and tearing up. So it was something that really, I was like, these guys are the future and the champions of true change. And so that's really what makes an effective advocate, is somebody who knows what they're talking about, passionate what they're talking about, and can articulate better than any lobbyist or parent or an educator, adult can do. So I was really, really moved by that.
Well, and that's what we need in Tallahassee, because we don't have the big buck lobbyists. It's all about moving them with the stories. Mm-hmm. We don't have the big buck donors and the lobbyists, but we do our best. We only have a couple minutes left. Any last thoughts anybody wants to share?
I think what I've heard from my peer panelists, that was something that really came across to us was there's a multiplicity of benefits that come from this kind of experience, whether you're teaching students the process or allowing them to act in the process. But what we found was that it created a bond for the young people, that when we even went through the Photo Voice project, we wanted them to really show what they were seeing in Tallahassee, and they wanted to focus on who they became together. And I was kind of taken aback by that, because I wanted these great pictures, and they were great pictures. It was great pictures of what they had gotten from the experience, and it was a pleasure to hear the same thing from both panelists, that it really does create lifelong bonds, and kids who maybe never hung out together before or never thought they had a voice, and they became this family of futurists.
So look out, world. We've got some great people coming up here in Broward County who are going to do some great things. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
We look forward to seeing all these great things that the students will do in the future. I want to thank Reiter, Robyn McLymont, Kerry-Ann and Geori Berman for sharing the experiences of these youth advocates and the impact they're having on our community and on our state. I've been your host, Cindy Ehrenberg-Seltzer, President and CEO of the Children's Services Council of Broward County, where our mission is to empower Broward's children to become responsible, productive adults, capable of realizing their full potential, their hopes, and their dreams. For copies of this program or any other episode of Future First, please call the Children's Services Council at 954-377-1000 or visit www.cscbroward.org. Like us on Facebook, and remember to join us next time on Future First, Focus on Broward's Children.